Welcome to the Fit for Success podcast. Brian Semling is an experienced entrepreneur with over 25 years in business. He is the founder and CEO of Blitz Innovation. He has built several brands such as Brian's Toys, a collectible toy business, to several Amazon FBA brands like Strictly Bricks and Clever Creations. His latest adventure is Rovux, a modern athleisure footwear brand which can be found at rovuxfootwear.com. On the podcast, Brian will talk with other entrepreneurs and social media influencers about their entrepreneurial journey, from what it takes to start and run a business to how they may continue to grow their brands and where they see themselves in their businesses in the future. And now, here's your host, Brian Semling.
Welcome to the Fit for Success podcast. I'm Brian Semling. Today, our guest is Madison Gorn, the CEO of Maddie Girl Marketing. Welcome, Madison.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me.
You bet. We're glad to have you here and would love to have you tell us about yourself and your business and how you got started.
Definitely. So my name is Madison Gorn. I'm 20 years old and I own a full service marketing agency called Maddie Girl Marketing. So at Maddie Girl Marketing, we do everything from the branding, manufacturing, web development, all the way to pushing products in stores, organic marketing, and paid advertising.
Well, that is very impressive. And I want you to tell our audience about some of the other things you've done to kind of get to this point. I know you mentioned you started, I think it was back when you were 13 years old. So go ahead.
Definitely. So at 13 years old, I created a makeup company called Maddie Girl Cosmetics. And Maddie Girl Cosmetics, the goal of it was to empower young girls and women all over the world to feel confident in themselves and that beauty is from within and it's not from makeup. Makeup just enhances a girl's beauty. So with Maddie Girl Cosmetics, I marketed it on TikTok, which ended up blowing up, which helped me a lot with my business, but it also helped me spread my message around the world. So with the success of that company, I realized the potential I had in marketing with the new tactics I was using that I didn't see other marketing agencies using. And I decided to use that with other businesses of friends and family, which led me to creating my marketing agency so I can help business owners all around the world.
So 13 years old, that's very impressive. And I can kind of relate because I started my business when I was 16 years old. But 13 is even a whole nother level than 16. So how in the world did you even get started as a 13-year-old? I mean, I've got a 14-year-old daughter, by the way, Sonia, and an 11-year-old son, Eric. So they're about that age, basically. And I imagine you need some help from parents and did they encourage you or how did you get started, go from being a kid, you were still a kid, but, to starting a business? Like what, that's a pretty bold move at that age.
Definitely. So growing up, my dad is a big figure in the business world. So I'd always be in the car when he was on business meetings or stressed about something in business. So I would kind of pick up on things he was saying, as well as he would also send me to a bunch of entrepreneur camps. And then around, I think it was 12 years old, I saw Kylie Jenner come out with a makeup company. And I looked at it and I said, I want one too. So I did a bunch of research on makeup companies, private label, how you start one, how you market it. And I went to my dad and said, can I use my bat mitzvah money to fund my makeup company I want to start? And he said, go for it. Sure. So I created one product, which is a mascara. And I posted it on Instagram, LinkedIn, all of these different websites. And at first, nobody did buy it. So I just continued with it till I got that one mascara to start selling. And then I started using TikTok, which basically blew up the business.
Well, that's really, really neat. So you've had a tremendous amount of entrepreneurial experience and you're only 20 years old, basically. You've had several different businesses already. And I know with this current marketing business that we're talking about, you cover also, I mean, it kind of sounds like you assist with sourcing, all the way to potential, design of products, to fulfillment of products, to listing items on Amazon, to content creation, right? So it's like all sorts of all sorts of stuff basically. So congratulations with just all the things that you've tried and succeeded. I know not everything is a success, but you learn a lot of things you've done have succeeded, and you learn. So just getting started at that young age, and the young age you're still at is, I think, very, very, it's not necessary because there's lots of business people that don't start that young, but it sure makes it easier because now your mindset for like the whole rest, you don't have to get over the fear of failure, the fear of like, how do I get started? Can I do this? Right? Like you know, you can succeed. You're maybe not going to succeed every single time, but you're not, you're not going to be waiting the rest of your life. Should I get started? Should I not? Like you're not, so you've got a lot of experience, a lot of confidence. I'm assuming you've solved a lot of problems and made a lot of customers happy. So that's all good stuff. What are some of the mistakes that you've made along the way? What are some things that you would do differently if you could go back, things that might help other other entrepreneurs who are getting started?
Definitely. So I've definitely made a bunch of mistakes throughout this whole journey, but some of the mistakes I found was at such a young age being an entrepreneur, and I feel like I was born one. And I've heard a lot of entrepreneurs say they were born an entrepreneur. That age doesn't really matter. And there's a bunch of examples of it that no matter what people tell you that you're too young to do something, to always stick with it and follow your gut if you have the idea. I've also learned that as a business owner, when you're launching a brand, do not come out with more products than you can handle. So always start small. I've had brands where they want to create a makeup line and come out with 20 products for their first launch. I would say definitely start with 2 to 3 products in the beginning.
Have you made some of those mistakes yourself where you've tried more than you could handle or more than you should have?
Definitely. Where I've launched a skincare brand before and it failed because I decided to come out with the whole line at once. And when it came to keeping up with the inventory and purchasing at the minimum cost, that I couldn't afford it in the end because it was still a startup.
You were spread too thin, basically.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that's good. What are some things that people who are not in business for themselves, what might be some misconceptions? What might be some things that people don't know about what it's like to run your own business?
I would say some people, a lot of people know this, but when you are a business owner or you're working in a business, there's a lot of times where something might not work at first. And if you just stick with it a little bit longer and keep trying that same skill, you'll eventually succeed in it. So, for example, even if you post one video on TikTok and that video does not blow up, it gets 100 views. Where if you keep posting the same video or a variation of that video that you are so confident in, it will eventually get the results you want. And sorry, yeah.
No, it sounds like if you have something you believe in, like keep sticking with it for at least a while, I think is that right?
Yeah, keep sticking with it. Also, there's a lot of times where you are going to fail. And if you let those failures keep discouraging you, you won't get to the point where you will succeed. And if you never try something because someone keeps saying it's not going to work or it doesn't work at first, you will never know if you are going to succeed or not.
Yeah. Who are some people or businesses that inspire you that you look up to?
There's an advertising agency in Fort Lauderdale. It's called Zimmerman Advertising. And I went to school at Pinecrest based in Fort Lauderdale, and I am from Boca, so it was a 45-minute drive to school every morning.
It's a ways.
And so my school, to get there, you have to get off a road called Cypress Creek. And his building is a big black and red building with a big Z on it. So he is a advertising agency, so I would drive past that building every day. And he would put out videos every Monday and Friday, such as Motivational Monday, Fearless Friday, and I would watch them every day growing up. So he's definitely a huge inspiration to me.
Somebody who is obviously local, did you know the person yourself or just know of them because they were in your area?
I met him a few times. His name's Jordan Zimmerman. His work is incredible. He does brands such as McDonald's, Chuck E. Cheese, and that list continues.
Got it. So somebody that you've known about, looked up to, you've met a few times, and kind of, at least indirectly, perhaps helped you get to where you are, basically, just kind of by the example that he has set. So, well, that's really neat. What are some things you do to try to make sure that you live a healthy lifestyle with all this going on, with obviously a tremendous amount of busyness with your business?
Rovox, where fashion meets fitness.
Some things I do is I always make sure I keep a balance between work and friends and school. So I will put time blocks in my schedule where I will not work on Tuesday, for example, or I won't work on Friday, and I'll spend time with my family and friends. And also, I don't speak about my company around my friends.
Try to just like put some limits on it, basically. So, yeah. Well, good for you to kind of, you want to keep things, you want to be able to live a normal life beyond just being an entrepreneur, which can definitely take up a majority of your time and energy, I would imagine, and can relate to as well. So, well, good. As far as, is there any advice that you'd be looking for with your business? That any questions that you might want to run by me to, for any insights that I might be able to lend?
Definitely. So you mentioned before how you did a lot of selling on Amazon. And I was wondering what advice you would have to somebody who is currently selling on Amazon or who wants to start selling on Amazon.
So somebody who's on Amazon or thinking about it, what would be some things they should know about or starting points to kind of get started? Well, if we're looking at someone who, if they're not already using fulfillment by Amazon, that would probably be a starting point. Is it makes it very efficient to have orders fulfilled. You have a lot less to worry about from a logistics standpoint. As long as you can get your products to Amazon, Amazon gets them to customers in a couple days, and you'll typically get a higher sell-through rate. So that would be one, just real immediate one, which is pretty well known and obvious if you're into it. But if you haven't, it is something to definitely strongly think about. Would you generally be looking at somebody who would be a reseller of other products, or for somebody who might be selling their own brand of products? Because those are two different directions that I might.
Someone selling their own products.
So somebody is selling their own products. I would suggest that when you list your products on Amazon, you're responsible for marketing those products on Amazon. So if you're reselling someone else's products, that's not so much true. With my collectible business, for example, we sell a Darth Vader action figure. The market knows what that Darth Vader action figure is, and there's a more or less established price and competition for that item. When you're selling your own, whether it's a makeup line of products like you've had, or whether it's like the Clever Creations wooden nutcrackers you see sitting behind me, if it's your brand and your products, you're responsible for the content, pictures, the wording and so forth. You're responsible for the pricing and the advertising. So it's a whole, so you can have a great product, but if you don't have good pictures and good content, no one's going to buy it. If you don't advertise it, you're going to have a much lower chance of success. And if you don't price it appropriately, you're going to have a lower chance of success. When you launch something new on Amazon, you don't typically have a lot of reviews or get a lot of attention. So you're going up against thousands and thousands of other sellers with millions of products that do have reviews. So oftentimes with something that is, when you're launching something new, you may have to advertise more, or you might have to start with a lower price than you'd like to get some momentum, get some attention to your product. So those would be some basic thoughts. I guess I would say you can't expect to be launching your own brand of products on Amazon and have the products just sell right out of the gate. Like, you have to really put time, effort, energy in to things like the content, the advertising, and managing the pricing. And oftentimes starting with a lower price or discounts or promotions that bring the price down to get people interested. Once you get momentum in sales, then you can gradually bring the price up. Hopefully, I mean, that's the goal, and then go from there. But those would be some basics to kind of getting started with your own brand on Amazon.
Yeah, that's great advice. Thank you.
Unfortunately, you don't typically put items up on Amazon and just have them sell. That may happen if you're selling another brand. Like I said, if you're selling a Star Wars Darth Vader, it will sell because the market knows what that is and you're selling, in essence, a commodity. But when you've got your own product, yeah, you have to make the consumers aware of that product, and you need to entice them and get sales momentum going, basically, kind of get that flywheel effect that Amazon likes to talk about, get that flywheel moving, basically. So, yeah. Any other questions you want to run by me?
You also mentioned before how you started being an entrepreneur at a young age, just like me.
Yeah.
And what advice would you also give to somebody who's an entrepreneur?
Now, as far as somebody who's a kid starting or a younger person, I would say that you're kind of like what you said. I would say you're never too young to start. It's the least risky. The younger you are, the less risk it is, because when you're 13 years old, like you were, or 16 years like I was, hopefully you've got parents who are paying the bills and taking care of you, and you can afford to fail, or you can succeed small and it's not a big deal. You can make a few $1,000s and maybe it's not enough to pay a mortgage, but hey, you don't have a mortgage, so you're fine. When you're older and you have a family and you have a mortgage and car payments and all this other stuff, there's a lot more risk in starting. When you're a kid, there's virtually no risk. So I would say, if you have an idea with something you want to try, like, go ahead and research it like you did, and then go try it. Don't research it for 5 years, research it for 5 weeks, 5 days, maybe 5 months, but not, and go out and get started, because really, being an entrepreneur is an adventure. And the sooner you get out there to get started on your adventure and to start learning, the better off and better equipped you'll be. You might fail, but overall, you're still succeeding because you're learning from the process. You just can't be afraid of failing, and you can't be afraid to keep trying, basically. But as long as you keep trying, you will succeed eventually. And, you and I both had reasonably quick successes when you were 13 and I was 16. And we both tried things that didn't work out, but when you keep trying things and you pay attention to the customers and the market, you're going to succeed. And so I would absolutely encourage kids to not, and young adults, right? Not just kids, but younger people in general, to not think that you need to be a certain age, that you need to have a certain degree, or that you need to have certain qualifications. Certainly there are some things you need to have qualifications for. You can't prescribe medicine without, being a medical doctor. But in terms of, selling products online, like you and I have done, the only thing you really need is the willingness to try it, basically, and probably a few dollars, but really not necessarily. You don't need a lot of money to get started. So
I couldn't agree more.
Cool. Well, it's been great chatting with you, Maddie. Do you have any questions that I didn't ask you that you wish I had?
I don't think so.
Good deal. Well, it's been wonderful having you on, and I think that you've got lots of excitement and success in your future. And I'm amazed at how many different businesses and how much your current business does, with you being at the age of 20 and so forth. And that's fantastic. So just keep that entrepreneurial spirit going, and keep, and good luck with everything. So
thank you so much.
Thank you very much for joining the podcast today. This is the Fit for Success podcast with Brian Semling.